Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Dan's Camera City. And joining us this evening for the Wednesday night photo show. We're still having fun doing these things, so we're going to keep doing them. I'm here tonight. My name is Scott. I'm the main photo instructor at Dan's Camera City, and tonight I've got Mike, one of our co-owners, here with me. Say hello to everyone. All right, so we've got a bunch of stuff lined up for tonight, and first thing that we wanted to talk about was something brand new that we're going to try out that just sounded like something fun for everybody while we're kind of stuck inside with the Pennsylvania gray out here. And that is our first virtual winter print swap. So why don't you tell me about where this came from? Because I know this was kind of an idea that you had kicked around.
Well, Scott, over the years, we've partnered with ArtsQuest for a really cool endeavor in the Valley here called the Envision Photo Festival. And one of the components of that they started a few years back was a print swap. And it was a conventional in-person back when that was allowed. Seems like forever ago, but it was an actual in-person event we had. We did it at the Brewworks in Bethlehem down in the Steel Garden. And the idea was everyone came with some prints to share. So we passed out a coupon code through Dan's for folks to get a deal on some 8x10s. And we had a bunch of people show up. The couple of years we were able to run it in person. And it was such a great event. People got to chat with photographers from all over the region. There were people there literally from teenagers to retired folks, everything in between, all different interests and genres of photography. And it was such a great social event. When we were all talking about what can we do during these times for something to get people interacting and sharing and enjoying your photography, it seemed like a natural fit to try and do something along this line.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So this is how it's going to work for everybody who's joining us tonight. And for everybody else out there, we just started. I think we announced it last week, but it didn't quite make the show last week. So the idea is you're going to go to danscamera.com/print swap. I'll throw that link up there in there for you. danscamera.com/print-swap. Right. When you go to there, you're going to get presented with a little form where you can fill out your information, and you're going to give, what is it, $10? $10 gets you into the print swap. So it's like a sort of a photo potluck, right? Like whatever you're bringing to the party is what everybody's going to get. So I'm going to do it too. It sounds like fun. I'm going to get myself in there and contribute a print. And so everybody's going to get one of everybody else who participates, right?
Yeah. What we're going to do is kind of like what we had done in person is we're going to take the photo you submit. You'll part of the process is you'll be able to upload one file. So you're going to send us that file. We are going to then kind of do something a little fun. We're going to use our discretion to print that on one of 4 different paper finishes. So depending on the nature of the image and what surface we feel will show it off the best, we're going to either do it on a glossy, a matte, a metallic, or a deep matte finish. You'll also have the option to, if you want, include some information for us to put on the back of the photo. So we can put your name, your social media hashtags, any information that you want to share out. So as a participant, you're going to get, 20, 30 photos of other people's work on a cool print surface that kind of matches what the image is. And then you'll also have some information on the back on how you can connect.
Oh, yes. Okay. So like everybody is going to be able to kind of connect with each other, and we've got this whole community of photographers.
Individually,
cool.
Again, we're going back to keeping, something social going as best we can with the limits of, everything going on.
Yeah.
The other thing is we're going to be hosting a session just for people to interact who were part of the print swap. So while other people will be able to view that session, the people who will be able to enter the discussions and the live chat will be the people who participated in the program.
Yeah. So we'll do like an image review session, because like when we did it was so much fun when we went through the winter photo contest that we did, and everybody got to look at everybody else's photos. So yeah, we're going to do another one of those review sessions, except everybody who participates, we're all going to invite you in here one night for the Wednesday night photo show. And all of you, we'll see how it's going to go with 30 guests.
As best we can invite you, and as best we can manage and, herd cats or whatever the expression would be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun,
Sounds
because
like a good time.
when we did these before, it was really a great way for people to connect. And it's just really interesting to see what other people are doing and to share a little bit of the story behind the photo. When you and I did the print review, we had a few people who were fortunately live with us and able to type in quick as far as the little bit of a backstory. Here, the idea is, you're going to be able to have a few moments for everybody to interact and talk about the imagery. You can comment on other people's work. So it's not, this kind of allows Scott and I to step back from being the people saying what we think about the images and kind of lets everyone else discuss it. And, it can be a little intimidating, because no one really likes to put yourself out there. But I'll tell you that the several times we did this, the response was great. Everyone was very supportive and encouraging. It's really a neat thing to do for any level of photographer with any interest of photography.
Yeah, it sounds very cool.
Yep. And with the system, you have the option. You can pick it up here at our store for the $10 entry fee, or for a total of $12, just $2 more. We'll ship them to you. Obviously, with how the USPS system's going right now, if at all possible, I'd try to come in to pick them up. But certainly, if you're not local to the store here, as we know we have a lot of people from out of the area, we'll certainly ship them to you instead. So,
right.
Yep.
And we've still got curbside going on. You can just roll right up. We'll bring them out to you, and you can be on your merry way.
Make it easy.
Yep. Oh, Andrea asks, do you have to join now, or can I join it at a later date? What's the deadline for people to get in on this?
Excellent question. I believe we posted February 3rd, or until all the slots are full.
That's right.
We're anticipating allowing up to about 30 people. We might cut it off at 25. We still have to kind of see, mainly from that standpoint, like you said, Scott, of how do we manage that many people in a Zoom or Google Meet discussion.
Yeah.
And being our first time doing it, obviously we want to be a little conservative so it goes well, and we don't have too many people trying to be in the session at once. So if you're interested, I would kind of go in sooner than later if you can.
Sooner rather than later. Yeah, I know we've got a couple of people already signed up. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
All right. So that link again was danscamera.com/print-swap. Get in on our winter print swap and get some little prints from a bunch of other photographers. And see what you get. I'm looking forward to I'm going to hang some stuff up back here. We'll get some bunch of new pictures and decorate the place.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll also share them out on our social media as well, just so again people can kind of see and experience the variety of work going on. Because it's always amazing. Like when I look down the Dan's friends and fans page to see the caliber of work, the variety of work, and just a lot of the great interaction. This is kind of taking that in a little bit of a different direction, a little different level. So
right, turning it into like that interaction that happens online and giving you an actual thing that you can hold in your hands.
Yeah. So I hope to see everyone there.
Cool. Well, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us tonight and taking a little time. And once again, link is danscamera.com/print-swap. Looking forward to it because I want to see all of you guys out here on the show with me one night.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep. One other thing, just while we're here for this, getting everything started off for everyone, is just a quick mention on a new service that we've launched at Dan's. It's something that we've only promoted very slightly as we're getting everything set for it. But I think a lot of the folks who tune into this would probably have a good reason to take advantage of it. And that is the ability to pre-schedule an appointment with one of our camera experts or framing experts. And we have our service that we just launched a couple weeks ago for virtual consultations. Yep. Obviously, again, people come to us from literally states away, or you could even be here in the Valley, and just with traffic and timing, you want to know that, there's going to be someone waiting for you when you get to the store, or it might just be better for you to be able to connect over Zoom or Google Meet. So this is a way for you to get that one-on-one personal interaction, get your questions answered about techniques, get your questions answered about gear. We do it, again, as a video conference, so that if you want to compare and contrast different pieces of equipment or need to see some sample images, our folks can do all of that with you. So we do have that available through links on our website right now. And starting in February, there'll actually be even more services and more dates available for you. So it's a very cool system.
I'm looking at, I can make an appointment. So I've gone to the consultations, and then I can say, I want to book an appointment. select a service. So I can just choose, like, I need to come in and I want to talk to somebody about custom framing, but I don't want to drive anywhere because it's gross out today. So I can say virtual consult. And then I pick my time from. Nice.
Yeah, so it's very simple to do. Again, you'll see more and more of this as we go forward because we've gotten very positive feedback. We've had several customers already from literally, down the street to Rhode Island and other states who've taken advantage of it. I thought it was a great way for them to make their purchase and make their decisions and feel very good about it. So when you go on there, you can either choose a staff member if you're someone that you've already been familiar with and who knows what your goals are, or you can just kind of default to anyone available. So we're trying to make it easy so you can connect with us again, no matter where you are. We want to make sure we're accessible for you.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Well,
Thanks so much.
I will let you and Ben get onto the good stuff for the night with all the cool specials coming up and all the lighting techniques. So,
all right. Thanks so much. All right.
Thank you.
Hey,
howdy.
how's it going? Now for the fun parts.
Hey, the print swap's the fun part.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm still trying to decide which photo I want to share with you.
I think I've got one picked out. I think I'm going to use one of my drone photos. I'm not saying which one.
Ooh, I'm not sure. I might go with like a vintage portrait, or I might go with something from one of my Star workshops.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start tonight off with a little bit of industry news. We got some brand new stuff from Sony. What's that all about?
So much to talk about. So Sony has once again pushed the envelope. They came out with the Alpha 1. Kind of a big move for them. We haven't really seen anything like this within full frame mirrorless at all. I'm really not one for like game changer or brand new camera, but this really is something new and special.
I got a little bit of a look at it today. I didn't have time to dig into details, but it looks like a beast.
It's kind of that conversation of I want my cake and I want to eat it too. You've got a super high resolution 50 megapixel monster that can now do 30 frames a second, which is just incredible. Combining that with a newer sensor, we're seeing the new menu system, the better touch screen coming from the A7S III. For somebody that,
I mean, I film movies at 30 frames a second, right? Like that's
combining that with like 4K 60, and now we have 8K. Our level of detail capture is just amazing, and we're not seeing any kind of the overheating, issues that we've seen from other models offering 8K, like the Canon R5. So very exciting to see them do that. And since they have the most lenses for mirrorless, they've been the first choice for a lot of folks for a while. Now, granted,
they've just been in the game longer. They've had time to build up that library, right?
They had the blessing of starting fresh, so that definitely worked out in their favor. They used to just be the new kid on the block, and now they're probably a bigger part of the conversation than anybody else. Our job here is to, not be biased or have a bias, as the experts, but
sure.
It naturally comes into the conversation because they offer so much for all sorts of different photographers and with a very short, almost non-existent, list of caveats. So there's a lot to like, but yeah. So what we're seeing from this, 50 megapixels, as I mentioned before, 8K video, higher video as well. We have some better weather sealing than we've experienced. We're also getting some more pro features. So for videographers, this is very much an opportunity for you to get another high-end video camera. So there's a lot to like about it. Much better viewfinder, which is kind of cool too. But the newer menu is something that a lot of people have kind of been looking for from Sony. To be fair, as equipment specialists, we get to play with everything. So they're all deep, they're all complicated. There's all, they have a lot to them regardless of the brand, because a lot of people have a tendency to leave their camera company for Sony. The learning curve tends to be a little jarring. So they really, listened to what people were saying, and they wanted to kind of create something that seemed a little bit more intuitive and combined with a better touchscreen. People are really, really enjoying that. Currently, that new menu only exists in the A1, which is this new camera, and the A7S III. So we'll be seeing it moving forward with anything coming out this year.
Right.
And some other stuff that we're excited to see.
Neat.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. in sadder news.
All night, the fact that it has a $6,500 price tag is, to a
Oh,
lot.
well, yeah. Like I said, it's the 800-pound gorilla, though, right? Like, that's what we were expecting.
Well, we were expecting, that kind of power. Thankfully, with it being mirrorless, definitely a lot smaller. I mean, you're going to compare this to like a Nikon D5 or a 1DX Mark III, which are like almost double the weight and size. So there's a lot to love about it. And most of the time, those are compared to the A9 II. Very close performer and sometimes outperformer with both of those. And that one has a price tag of, 4,400, or somewhere in there. And we've already gotten customers calling saying like, hey, I have an A9 II, or I was thinking of getting, an A9 series camera. Is that pointless at this point? Is this so much better? No. If you don't need high megapixels and high speed, go with an A9. Because for sports photography, 20 megapixels is going to do more than enough for you. And you still have the faster frames per second. You still have the better autofocus system. You still have a higher keeper rate. And you also don't have distortion because of the stacked sensor. For those of you that don't know what the stacked sensor means, that's going to be for, any kind of like fast moving birds in flight or any kind of sport that involves a long straight stick, hockey, golf, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
With mirrorless, depending on your settings, you might notice that straight stick starts to bend a little bit, and that's not good. Having a stack sensor allows that to not be an issue. So that's kind of cool. So there's still a lot within their offerings that are phenomenal without it being, hi, Charlie. So those are all really cool things.
Yeah. And as Charlie points out, Fujifilm did announce some new stuff today. The new XE4 is a pretty slick looking, tiny, compact, powerful little camera.
Yep.
Sadder news from Fujifilm. We got to pour one out for our old friend.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. You tell them. I'm too upset.
Fujifilm Pro 400H, one of the most beautiful film stocks in color film, color negative film, has been discontinued by Fuji. That's another victim of one of the final victims of the digital age. And I guess they cited problems getting materials and they just couldn't keep up with the film stock anymore.
Yeah, sourcing some of the chemicals for what a lot of pro and entry level, film photographers was like almost perfect. I was a big fan myself, so we just had another mad rush on it today. So I don't even know.
Oh, really?
120 left. 35 millimeter was like gone that day. We had someone call and say, hey, ship it.
Wow.
I can't imagine we were their first call, but it kind of harkens back to, like 2010 and before that when people were freaking out about Kodachrome. So
right.
It's a dramatic time. And unfortunately, it's not something that, we're unaccustomed to at this point. It doesn't happen as much at this point in the game. Thankfully, as a consolation, there are still so many film types and new ones being developed constantly that can really round it out. So don't feel like film is dead.
Right.
It's just this one particular
just this one, right?
It's
okay. There's still other good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pro 400H was kind of a classic, though. It's sad to see it go.
Yeah.
I've heard that that 35 millimeter is going to be in short supply, but they have enough stock to keep putting out 120 for a little while. They were hoping for a little bit.
We know how that kind of stuff goes.
Yeah, if you can find some and you're
find it, grab it,
grab it before it disappears. Stick it in the freezer or whatever you need to do.
Save it for the special occasions. I mean, for somebody looking for, really clean, professional looking film that's just gorgeous, I would still totally recommend Portra 400 as another alternative.
Sure.
Phenomenal for skin tones. We have a couple like pro photographers that come in that's like their exclusive choice. So there's still a lot of good options beyond kind of the enthusiast, level of 35 millimeter film. It's been a long day. So there's a lot to look at. I can say film. I can do it. I'm going to start bringing coffee to these.
Not a terrible idea. All right. So that said, let's talk a little bit about the meat and potatoes of what we wanted to get in tonight. And that was a while back, we were kicking around what it is that was going to be like, okay, what's the thing that we're going to talk about like in January? It's gray and it's like, there'd be a ton to talk about if we lived maybe a couple hours north of here or a few hours west of here, because you could talk about landscape photography all day long. Nice blanket of snow on the ground, some bright sunny days, but that's not what January looks like in Pennsylvania. We've got gray and we've got sleet and we've got slush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
awesome right now.
So we thought, okay, let's take a look at light. Light is something that you can play around with when you're sitting around indoors.
Mhm.
And understanding light and getting better light will help you get better pictures all around. So this is the month we're going to be talking about light. And we're starting off with, well, we've got this whole better lighting promotion going on right now. So we've got all this stuff that's tying into this thing. And we wanted to take some time tonight to talk about looking at light and how you can use that to help you get better pictures. We got a bunch of stuff lined up. So first of all, how do I get better light for my pictures?
Welcome to Photography 101.
Right.
You've got so many options now. I mean,
Right.
back during film era, you had a basic speed light that you had to calculate all the stuff, and there was a physical wire, and it was horrible. I mean, you could get it done, but it really wasn't user friendly. Now we've got everything from, flashes that have fully automatic, and they're not expensive, which is amazing. It's light. How, bad does it have to be? But now we also have things like, continuous light. Like I'm using a tiny little light cube with a silicone thing that gives a little bit of an orange gel so I don't look completely washed out. I mean, ooh, that's bad. So, there's tons of different ways, whether it be photography or video, to have better lighting. We don't even need to look at something that we can plug into a wall. It could be wireless, or it could be something that's not even electronic, like a reflector. I know we talked about that a little bit, last time, but such an important tool. If you do portraiture of any kind at any scale, you need a reflector in your toolkit. It's so important.
That's the thing that I always tell people when I'm starting out and when we're in classes like the art of light. Like that's not even a class about hardware. That's just about like, let's take a look at light. So we're looking at like, okay, what's the light doing? And we'll tell people like, just stick up your hand and you can see how the light kind of feathers away from like now it's in shadow and now it's in light. So you're going to look at like starting to pay attention to what light looks like, right?
Yeah.
And like what is going on in the shape of what's happening and color and that kind of thing, right?
Situational awareness is probably one of the, it seems like a basic thing, but it's definitely one of those higher level things that as a photographer, you need to be so aware of what your light is doing or what your shadows are doing, because they can really work against you if you're not careful. Even when you're outside, if the clouds have moved, you need to change something.
Right. Like it's a partly cloudy day, light moves a little bit, and now it's a thing that you kind of have to watch. So yeah, we're always talking about that in class, like watch what the light is doing. And it's one of those things where you don't notice it in your day-to-day life because you're just kind of like walking around and you're not super paying attention to what the heck is going on, what the light looks like. And once you start though, you get obsessive about it, right?
You can't unsee it. It's you become obsessed. And you wind up becoming a photographer.
Right.
It is everything.
And then I'm driving down the road and like, oh, that light looks really cool on the way it's falling across the building. And my wife's like, eyes on the road.
I've never pulled over for a sunset or sunrise. That has never happened. I've never, called somebody to say, go look at the moon, Okay, it's a moon. I'm like, yeah, but you got to go look at it. You got to go take photos. And it's like, but once you start getting into it, you do become obsessed. It is a very romantic thing. But it is something that we can talk about all day long. One of the other, ways that we can think about it though, we have people come in and maybe they're doing portraiture, or maybe they're starting, or maybe they've been doing it a while, and external lighting or lighting modifiers like a reflector or something like that hasn't really been a part of the conversation for them. Maybe it was complicated, or maybe they just never were taught it well, or, it seemed like a little much, or they just don't know about it. When someone comes in, they say, I'm a natural light shooter. What that tells us is, okay, I'm going to be, pretty much at nature's mercy. If it's really sunny out, because that's when I was able to shoot, I'm now stuck in the bushes or something like that. I'm always going to have my back to the sun. Using external lighting, using reflectors, using modifiers allows us to make the situation how we envision it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
as artists, we want to be able to say yes more. And, you know, whether that just be to get the kind of photo that we're envisioning instead of, I'll just fix it later, which isn't always as possible as we hope.
Right.
Or when someone says, hey, the only window of time I have for my engagement photos is at 3 p.m. in June. Sound good? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to be stuck under the trees. Sure, no problem. Being able to say yes more often and finding better quality of light, but also creating that for yourself is super
Yeah.
helpful.
So like an example like this, like everything about this picture is interesting because of the light,
Yeah.
right? Like if you took this picture at high noon, it would be what, like a little bit of a dirt trail and some weeds lit
Kind of,
with
yeah.
like flat sunlight, because you're out here at sunrise and there's still some mist and the light's filtering through the trees and you've got that nice angle, right? It's
Yeah.
coming in at that steep angle, so it's the time of day. We're out there, magic hour or golden hour, right?
Yeah.
But then if you try to pose somebody here,
They're going to get
what's-
lost in the shadow.
they're going to be deep lost in the shadow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of kills the mood. You know, or maybe
so that's why
hour.
There we go. We're gonna bring out this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the other thing. The great thing about those reflectors is like that's the tool that it's a great tool to start out with.
Yep.
Because you're just going to point it at the thing that you're looking at, and you're going to see immediately, like in a very hands-on way, how that works and how the light moves around and the effect
Always
that
super
has.
helpful.
Right.
Always super helpful.
But beyond the beginner thing, like that's a tool that you're going to use for the rest of your career as well.
Yeah.
Right. Even when you've got a whole studio full of stuff, you're still going to be using those reflectors.
Like I've said many times, it does not leave my car. It is
Yeah.
always with me. I actually have a really great example of taking that a little farther. So, you know, one of the other scenarios, you know, yes, a reflector is a great place to start. It's not where you want to stop. Let's say I get those golden hour photos or something like that, and the location or the time of day or the time of year, you get to your location and be like, there's no light here, or the sunset dropped a lot faster than you wanted. And now that kind of warm orange glow that you wanted for really great fall photos or, you know, what have you is gone. You can use something like just a really simple off-camera flash, like the ones that we have from Godox, which are part of that 10% off sale. And you can put a warming gel in, which are super cheap, but those are designed to fake different levels of that sun-kissed glow, that golden hour. So I can actually share my screen and show you an example.
All right. So real quick, I want you to see exactly what I got going on here. I got my Godox flash, and I pretty much always have affixed to it with a little bit of sticky tape, a little warming gel.
Yeah.
Because I use it so frequently. So I've got a gel just taped on here so that I can slap it on there whenever I need it.
Yeah, like me, I use the Magmod system. So with those, their gels are actually physical, almost credit card sized hard pieces of plastic that just pop into their stuff with no tape. I just leave one in my wallet for pretty much the entire engagement season, and I can just kind of show you an example. So if we go side by side, if you're taking a look at that now, just let me know when you can see that.
There we go.
Yeah, so really cute couple. This is Sarah and Trevor. Love them to death, but this was at a location that was kind of a bowl. Really, really nice, just fall leaves and kind of stuff, but it's kind of flat. It's kind of blue. So we were looking for that golden hour, and they were looking so cute. So I felt bad, and I didn't want to fake it, and I wanted to have a little bit of that warmth. So by using a flash, the example that I was able to get was that. And with a little bit of editing to kind of put the attention where I wanted it, I was able to supply some light that gave it a warmer look. It doesn't look like I used flash, though, which is really the entire point, which is also why taking our classes is so crucial, you know, because a lot of people will get turned off by flash or external lighting. Whoa, that's a cool effect. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Wow. That's cool.
All right. Cool. Doctor Who time for you there.
Yeah. There. So using it in a way that supplements natural light and how that feels and looks to make it work for you is really what lighting modifiers are for. You want it to do the work for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of you working against it and someone goes, oh, they used flash.
Yeah. And one of the things we start out with in the classes is like I put together the simplest possible kit. So I've got like the smallest, lightest light stand right here because I
Yeah.
use one of these guys. I threw some bright yellow tape on the bottom of it so that people don't trip over it.
Yeah.
The other thing that you're going to need is like a great intro level light modifier. The old Mary Poppins umbrella back here.
Very good place to start.
Right. They're cheap, but they're super flexible. And like, I'm not going to cry if it breaks.
Yeah.
And then the thing that ties it all together is, right, you need the little swivel adapter that goes on top of the light stand so that you can put this thing on that thing and slap that whole thing together. We've got that as a kit that I put together for the creative flash class because, like, okay, where am I starting? Okay, these are the things. You need something to hold the light. You need the little thing that ties it together, and you need something to modify the light.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
also
kind of
super
stuff.
crucial. And if someone wants to, take it a little bit farther, or if they're worried about, high wind or something like that, or if sometimes they use it on camera and sometimes they want to use it off camera, we've got a lot of different modifiers from Magma,
Oh, yeah.
Rogue, and even some stuff from ProMaster to make it, definitely a little bit of a nicer setup, but also something. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
I think we've been going back and forth on Instagram lately, so it's nice to see some friendly faces. But
Heck yeah.
there's definitely some ways to take like a basic lighting kit like that, which retails for $74.99, and that's all 3 items, and you're getting 10% off right out of the get-go with the sale, and taking it a little farther and having it be compact and a little bit more versatile. So there's always ways to keep it simple, keep it easy, and then just kind of build on
and scale up. Right. Like with all the other toys that I've got kicking around in here, I still use this stuff. It's not like you outgrow it. You just kind of add to it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I've got 20% off on the Creative Flash class as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always such a
part of the sale also.
We have a lot of people looking to, they picked up a Flash or they got one as a gift. Now let's learn how to use it and, make it look like you didn't use Flash.
Yeah. Right? Like that, I don't like Flash. Well, that usually means I don't like the Flash that's like straight ahead, deer in the headlights Flash, right?
Yeah, like, okay, so all of your childhood photos, like mine, came from, a disposable 35 throwaway, and you all have red eye. Okay, got it. That's the benchmark.
Yeah, that's
totally fix that.
We can fix all of those things in about 5 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that
and
aha moment.
What's that?
I love that aha moment when someone comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Their misconception. And, we show them some examples, or like the one I just showed you of Sarah and Trevor. And, they just realize, oh, wow, those were all opportunities that I could have. And those are things I've missed in the past. Right. Let's fix this, and that urgency kicks in.
And this Godox stuff has made it like I'm super excited about the Godox stuff. I've been a big fan. I started using them a little before we actually started stocking them. I think.
Yeah, that was a big
and like this little guy is so nice on my tiny mirrorless camera, and it was like, what are they, like $85?
Yeah, $84.99
for that little and I've got, it's all taped up right now, so it's ugly. You can ignore that, but I've got 2 of them because the 2 of these guys together is not much bigger than my camera itself. And because every single one of these supports wireless with the little wireless trigger, I kind of have a studio setup that packs in my camera bag.
It's the best part for people that are getting into this now. They don't even know how spoiled they were,
Oh my God.
Even
it's so much easier.
Off-camera Flash, it was complicated, convoluted, and very expensive. That from another company would have been like $300-400 a couple.
I mean, we can name names, right? Like we carry Pocket Wizard stuff, and there's nothing wrong. Like they are rock solid, reliable. I will give them that. You can beat them to death, and they will never stop working. But man, they are pricey.
They've kind of made them relevant, which is why we don't care anymore. There's just no reason to be spending that kind of money when Godox is so reliable and so approachable and so user friendly.
Right, like I can control 5 different flashes. Well, more than that technically, if you get into it. From
you can go crazy. You can
everything that I've got here costs less than like high end. Yeah, like super expensive wireless stuff from another company. Like It has
Yeah.
gotten so much cheaper and at the same time easier to use.
Yeah, it's a wonderful.
It's
Yeah, we could talk about just Godox all day.
well,
And
actually, let's go a
on this
little
week,
further into Godox. What's that?
anybody that wants to come in and talk to me about Godox, I will always.
Oh
talk.
yeah, for sure. Right. But there's the next step up from there, from these guys as well. Like we talked about, okay, you can use reflectors and start modifying natural light. And we talked about, okay, you can put a better flash on your camera. Right?
Yeah.
And then you can take the wireless stuff and you can use it off camera and start moving your light source around.
Yep.
But the other thing that I love about these guys is the fact that it's part of a much larger ecosystem. Do you want to walk us over and show a couple of those bits?
How about I
Can you?
grab some stuff and I will be back. Keep them occupied. Don't go anywhere.
All right. So yeah, that's the neat thing about these guys is I don't need a separate wireless trigger to run this thing, right? I don't need a separate wireless trigger to talk to this because it's got wireless built into it. And I don't even technically need a wireless trigger that is separate because these will do transmitter as well as receiver. So with this one on my camera, I can talk to this one that's not on my camera. I can tell this one, okay, you're going to flash and you're going to be set at this power. And this, I want you to also tell your friend over here to fire at this power. And you can control those things separately. And that just doesn't stop with these things. Godox, I think, is the only people I'm aware of that everything from their tiny little compact lights all the way up to big studio lights are all part of the same system. They all speak the same language. They've all got the same transmitters and receivers in them, which is super cool because that gets you from starting with this thing all the way up to
Well, we
you
can
got
go.
everything. Some large studio lights, and they're all part of right.
I'm sorry. I'm just so in love with being able to control light regardless of the situation. Now, granted, this is their AD600 Pro, which is just a beast and a monster, and you can shoot in 3 o'clock in the afternoon, midday sunlight, and still overpower the sun,
Overpower the sun.
blur out
Yep.
the background. I mean, this is like all the power. But if I want something just a little bit more powerful, like their AD200 completely changed the game for a lot of
Right.
people.
Like we don't want to overuse that word game changer, but the AD200 really, like I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know how else to put it. It's probably the most useful piece of lighting I have in my bag on any given moment because I have something that's flash. Hello. I have something that's flash sized,
Right.
and I can use normal flash modifiers like an umbrella or like Godox.
Right.
but
Your MagMod stuff, all that.
All in that price, you can put a bare bulb like you'll find in the studio, size strobes, and use full size softboxes. So now you're really softening out your light and really controlling things, or you can just hit stuff from a distance. One of my favorite shots, it's actually printed in the store in a couple places. I was in the water with a model, and she was about 20 feet offshore, and I was about up to here.
Yeah.
On camera. And just pointed the flash straight at her and just went boom, and it just hit her. But because this flash had that much power, not only was it able to hit her and illuminate her in a really nice way, I could also keep shooting and not have to wait. Recycle time is a big part of that, and that gets missed a lot. Yes, your speed light, could hit something from that distance, but if you're working with someone or if they're moving, imagine having to take a photo and then say, wait.
Right. Wait for the flash recharge.
Okay,
Right.
now we can take one more, or something like that with a larger flash recycle time. So I can just go click, click, click. That's a really helpful feature. But they have the AD200. They have the really light and compact AD300, which is a new accessory from their lineup. And then it, goes all the way up to the AD600. So kind of the big takeaway from that is there's a lighting system that has an ecosystem where you can build upon, grow with, but they have something at a lot of different tiers and price points. So you can get into it relatively affordable.
Yeah.
It's pretty
it's been amazing. It's just fantastic stuff to work with. And I've been super, super happy with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some of these puppies back real quick.
So that's all stuff that is, and it's all stuff that's on sale. Ben, can you show us that photo? We'll have to see if Ben can show you that photo. I think he's got it someplace. It's hanging up. It was a very cool shot. I'll have to see if he can pull that up for you because it's a neat looking setup. Ben's fantastic to talk to about. Actually, I mean, both of us will go nuts about
Is
lighting.
he saying nice things about me? What are you saying?
Andrea wants to see that photo. If you've
Oh,
got
I
it
would
somewhere.
love to show that. Give me a couple seconds and I can definitely pull that up for you.
All right.
I have a lot of photos. So if
Gotta be in there somewhere.
there's so many photos, but that which also brings up learning.
That was the 8200 though. You used that one.
That was the 8200.
So like the size of a flash, but behaves like a studio light.
Yeah, super helpful. It's definitely one of our most popular models. I know where I'll go.
Got it.
Yeah, I do. So if I share my screen again, thank you for your patience. Oh, hello. Cool.
There we go.
That's fully natural. Are you able to see that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was soaking wet, and she was kind of standing on a rock in the middle of the water. And my fiance was holding the light pointing right at her just to give a little bit of side fill and get rid of some of those shadows that were, otherwise going to be under her chin. But yeah.
Okay.
But being able to implement light in a way that was very natural looking. Here's another really great example of that. We shot this a little bit tighter.
Mm-hmm.
If this wasn't my photo, I wouldn't know that flash was used, probably, to be honest. But being able to just put light where I want it at a distance and at a speed, that was beautiful. Another example. So this is my fiance. This was a shot where if you look at her feet, the shadows are actually coming towards me. So the sun is actually extremely bright behind her, and I have the flash pointed directly at her. The 8200 is powerful enough to overpower just a little bit, in the evening. So being able to just get a really nice shot, at the steel stacks, that was really helpful. This is one.
Otherwise, she would pretty much be in silhouette there, right?
Yeah, exactly. She would have been just completely black. This was up at the Trexler Environmental Education Center, which is gorgeous for sunsets. And this was a little bit after because we were running a little bit late. Sun was kind of gone. So after golden hour, we have blue hour. And I was able to just grab a light stand, put it on a very small softbox, and just let that be the fill light. And we were able to not only, get her very well illuminated and, not lose her face to the shadow of this really awesome hat that she has, but also, make it look like natural light. Yeah. So that's
what kind of a modifier are you using there?
So that was with a Raja 26-inch, which is a really nice kind of mid-range size. Last cut I'll show you. So this one, it's a little bit more of a heavy-handed example, like you can really tell what's going on, but I leave it in to paint a very clear picture. If somebody wants to do a sunset shoot, with really warm light at the beach, the East Coast, you ain't got no sun. That's on the bay side.
Right.
So I had my friend walking with an 8200 with a small light modifier, and thankfully I had one of those CTO gels in my wallet. I was able to pop that in and give a little bit of an more, orange sun-kissed glow. Now,
CTO is color temperature orange for those of you at home.
Yes. So being able to have sunlight and golden hour when you don't actually have it. So I had him just kind of crab walking next to them. Now, sure, I would love to finesse that shot a little bit, but it paints a very clear picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can bring my ugly mug back though.
Whoops. I pushed the wrong button. Now you're back.
It's all good. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the crowning examples of that, but this is always with me when I'm doing portraiture. Even if I know the lighting is going to be in my favor, I'm not in control of the weather. Something might change, or we might say, hey, wow, it's really cool over there. I like that, location off to the right, but there's no light over there.
Right.
No problem.
But you brought your own.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to, is the having some control over what is going on.
For sure. Yeah. So what else can we talk about for these guys?
Well, I think the last thing we need to cover is some of the stuff that's the weird stuff that has been happening in the world of light that is not flash. Because we've seen an explosion of new stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a ton of new options.
It's been amazing. For those of you that don't follow us on Instagram, you should. But on Instagram and Facebook, I just posted a photo of Valeria, who's one of our equipment specialists. She posed with two of the new Godox small panels that you can control all colors. So I had one be red and one be blue, and she just held them right in front of her face. And the result was really, really amazing for being able to create a cool portrait. I can pull that up while we're chatting because that one I have very quickly. But that as a consideration, being able to create these creative, funky things, not just about, fixing your scenario, has been really a part of the conversation. We have also a lot of people that are looking to do more like content creation or, any kind of really just kind of off the wall stuff.
Well, I mean, for starters, like if you're shooting video, Flash doesn't do a thing for you. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And all of these cameras now, like this didn't used to be a video camera back in the film days, right? Like you couldn't make a movie with your SLR, but now all of these, they're also movie cameras.
Exactly. We also have a lot of people coming in right now that, they just walk in and say, I need a ring light. I guarantee someone watching this has thought that exact thing. Being the experts that we are, we're not just going to say, okay, yeah, here you go. We're going to say, oh, what were you using it for? What are you looking to get into? What kind of video or photo work were you looking to, try improving on? What had you interested in that? Were you aware that there's some other options? Ring lights.
I need a ring light because I photograph bugs is different than I need a ring light because I do makeup tutorials on YouTube.
Exactly. I had somebody in today that was looking to, use a ring light, and it turns out what they actually needed were much stronger lights that are actually LED panels that throw a lot more light. And she wanted to be able to control it wirelessly so she didn't have to walk across the room, because she's going to be showcasing on Facebook Live a lot of different products. A ring light is really meant for a couple specific types of work. It's now kind of becoming a catch-all for I need video lighting and I need help. And that's why we're here. And that's why there are so many different options. I can actually share that example of the side-by-side of the portrait that I took, though, if you want to take a look. Awesome. Cool.
Got it.
So that's a side-by-side example. So you can kind of see, what she was holding. So on her, in her right hand where I'm moving the mouse, that was the M1. That guy retails for $129. On her left hand, that is the R1, which is a little smaller. It's actually magnetic, so you can put that little hockey puck anywhere. And then I just had her hold them right in front of her face on either side, so she was still comfortable and not squinting. And we were able to get this really exciting portrait. We tried out different colors and things like that, some combos just to kind of see what was interesting. And we kind of landed on this as a final example.
It's sort of a there's your cyberpunk looking.
It's super Star Warsy and almost oh gosh, what's the movie? I'm really terrible. Blade Runner.
I was going to say that's the Blade Runner light right there.
Exactly. And that's a really extreme example, but the point is there are, lighting solutions where you can I can't, thank you. We're getting better at that. So there's lighting now that I can, control the situation, or just I could have it in the background up against a wall as like, up lighting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like get that little box and stick it back here someplace for just a little splash of color up the wall.
It makes
or just to throw an accent light in someplace.
Yeah, they even have simulations. So if I wanted to have it like flickering like a fire or like a TV, or, doing kind of like a disco DJ thing, we can create some really quick content that's interesting. So we could have it just something really simple like a portrait, or I could use it in a full video.
And I mean, it does normal colors too, right? Like you can use it as a plain old video light.
Gosh, I could use it just like this.
Yeah.
I can control the temperature color. I can also control the brightness to make it a little bit more manageable, so it's not, uncomfortable in front of my face.
And that's the cool thing about these things is like you're not, when you're dealing with these LED panels that do the bicolor, dial in the color temperature thing, is you're not slapping gels on there to try and get the light to match the available light. You just like dial it in until it looks good.
Exactly.
And you're off to the races.
Exactly.
Plus, I guess for the people who like, if you're not like, there are still situations where you, even for photography, where you want to have that continuous light. I can think of like, I don't know, maybe if you're photographing pets and they get jumpy around strobes going off or something like that.
Well,
Right.
when one great example, kind of along that line, where you can use continuous lighting in a scenario like that, where you want to create maybe a little bit more of a calm environment when things are not in COVID world. One of our offerings with Santa Photos is we had a night that was designed to be much more sensory friendly for kids that were on any kind of learning or developmental like delay spectrum kind of stuff. We would actually set it up so there were no strobes, which was really preferred. We also worked with a lot of parents to see what would make sense for the vast majority of children joining us for that. And we would use continuous light so we could have a really fun, comfortable, and not stressful environment so people could have Santa photos.
Yeah.
So, there's always a creative way around that. This has all become a newer solution for people. Simply because the quality of light and the color accuracy and the power and therefore affordability has really gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. And just the couple of years that we've had, continuous light in film was a hot light.
Mm-hmm.
And those are horrible.
Yeah.
Right. Those are just horrible. I mean, that was literally something that you could make a grilled cheese on. But now continuous light is something that we can use when our subject is changing, very rapidly, or we're trying to minimize our guesswork and really immediately see exactly where that light is falling.
Right, because you're going to see exactly what they're doing, right? It's not like it's on for a split second and then back off again.
Exactly.
What you see is literally what you get.
Yeah. So for like kind of a hybridized setup, there's a lot of different options. And now we have stuff even from Godox where if someone wants to use their nice, gorgeous light modifier that they use for their strobe work, it'll plug right into that. It doesn't have to be a panel.
Yeah, like the I don't remember the model number now, but I used it when I shot that video of you.
Yep, there's an SL60, there's a SL100, which is even more powerful, and then what you used for our commercial was the UL150, which is completely silent, which is really attractive. So, so those guys can get a little hot, and that one is just a giant heat sink, so there's no fan that kicks on. So that's why we always ask so many questions when you come in or when you email us, because we're really doing our best to tailor fit it to what you're looking to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and those like looks like a studio strobe, but is a continuous, like that, just one big LED element on there that really threw great looking light.
It was very impressive. And, for a setup like that, it can be a little bit more cost effective too, so I might recommend something like that if someone's looking to do, some studio work or some portraiture work, or, maybe they want to do some content creation and, having both is very expensive. Go with a really decent video light setup and just kind of understand where the boundaries might be. If you're going to shoot fast action or the lights are going to be really far back for full body or group shots, that's where you need more powerful light. But, as a versatile entry level setup, that's really just the best. That's a really great way to get around it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in close and you're doing headshot portrait kind of stuff, like that light would easily do double duty.
Yeah.
No problem.
One of the other great things that's going on during that sale, yes, you're getting 10% off, but if you spend $100 or more with lighting, you're also getting a free half-hour session with that guy, with Scott. So, you get all this new stuff and maybe it's a little newer, a little scary. You got somebody to walk you through it through
right,
video.
We're there to walk you through setting it up and making sure you understand how it works and here's your new thing. Let's try
free.
it out.
That part's free. I mean, that's normally, $40 or $50. So that's pretty phenomenal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
lots of nice stuff to like.
Yeah. So to recap, we got 10% off all the lighting stuff going on through February 6th. We've got 20% off the light classes, the Creative Flash and the Art of Light. Yeah. What else is going on?
If you buy a flash, you get 50% off of that flash class. I don't know if you mentioned that. Also, the free class, for a half hour if you're doing a
personal session.
Also, 20 or 25. I want to say it's 20% off of deep matte prints.
Yes,
which are really tasty and wonderful. If you like matte prints, try ordering those. Phenomenal for like deep, rich texture. Kind of cools off your shadow detail a little bit, but it's a really fun way to kind of get like an artsy print and still a better idea. It does kind of change how your photo is going to look, but that's what makes it really exciting. And you can always come in and see samples, and we have like a little write-up and side-by-side both in the store of like the same photo as well as on our website. So that's a really cool one to get your hands on. Smooth Fine Art and Deep Matte are two of my absolute favorites, and Deep Matte being on sale is really attractive.
Yeah, Deep Matte is neat, especially for like if we're talking about doing the lighting stuff and you got some cool Rembrandt light and some very shallow depth of field so that the background just kind of goes swirly and soft and creamy.
Yeah. Really nice
Deep
for
Matte
anything with like
real
greens or nature or anything like that. As we get spring a little bit more, I'll be doing it. I'm very excited for the people that we decide to put their prints on Deep Matte for that print.
Deep Matte. Yeah.
Chrome metallic is really cool too, but Deep Matte is just really special.
Yeah, when you get the right subject on that paper, it's just such a cool look.
Yeah, it sings. I don't know how else to say it, but it works.
Yeah. All righty.
Cool.
Well, I think that's about everything. So I wanted to just check and see if anybody had any questions or anything that we wanted to cover. But otherwise, I'm going to put the link up for the print swap one more time. Like I said, I'm going to try and get in on that one as well. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. We've got a ton of stuff coming up. We've got the Creative Flash class coming up on the schedule. We've got the Art of Light coming up on the schedule. And we will be around next week and see you again soon.
Yeah, so there'll be more for us to talk about.
Oh, yeah. All right. So thanks so much again for joining us, everybody. We've had a great time, and we'll hope to see you again real soon.
Have a great night.